Hello everyone, back with recent watches on physical media part 37. So in the last episode I mistakenly said it was 35. I did title it as 36 once I checked. Yeah, this time I've checked before. So yeah, hard to know whether it's, 14 days or 20. Either way it shows us 2 weeks. But yeah, watched 10 films in that time. Few Blu-rays, few 4Ks, few DVDs, I think. Quite a few comedies, maybe at least three. More comedies than usual, I think. Um, right, I'll get on with it. No more introduction needed. So, first one I watched, yeah, probably slightly over 2 weeks ago, is It Came Up from the Bermuda Depths, or just call it the Bermuda Depths. So yeah, I heard this was an interesting one. Obviously, it's on the Warner Brothers Archive collection. Got a few of them, and they do release mostly good films. Directed by Tom Catani. Can't say I've really heard of him or what else he's done. Only a 12, moderate injury detail. Music by Maury Laws. Yeah, music was really good in this. Starring Lee McCloskey, Carl Weathers, Connie Sellecca, Julie Woodson, Ruth Attaway, and Burl Ives as Paulus. Yeah, Carl Weathers, the main kind of selling point in this. Yeah, what year was this? 78. So I think the original Rocky was like 77. Not sure when. Part two. I think Apollo Creed was in maybe two of them, part two and four. Let me know, Rocky fans. Original Rocky, a classic, but I've not seen the others since I was a kid, to tell you the truth. A lot of people say part five is the worst when he fights not even Drago, what's his name? Fights some guy in the street. I think Angelo enjoys that one, but yeah, I do need to get the Rocky collection, to be fair. Yeah, definitely before Predator, which was 87, so like 9 years before that. But yeah, let me know. I'm thinking this is Carl Weathers. Maybe not his first role, but yes, before Action Jackson, and pretty sure it's before he was Apollo Creed. But yeah, I'd say that's the main sort of draw to it. He's really good in it. It's got a really dreamy, sounds weird, but wishy-washy kind of atmosphere. Yeah, kind of similar to Humanoids of the Deep. Not as horror centric. That's quite gory and some nudity and things. Yeah, a bit more of a family film. I'd say along the lines of intensity of like Jaws, but with does it tell me on the back? I don't think it's a spoiler to say. Yeah, basically it's about a giant sea turtle. You can see him there, I think, with his glowing eyes. Um, yeah, it is a bit about the Bermuda Triangle, but not too much. I was hoping for more Bermuda Triangle lore and things in it. It's kind of a bit more about the story of these certain people, and yeah, there's sort of something coming up from the water, and it does show it. The effects are pretty good. This lady in the middle, very attractive in it. Not sure if I can find her name. Connie Sellecca, I guess. Oh yeah, she looks very nice in it. 97 minutes, so yeah, didn't drag or anything, but yeah, that's the main thing I take from this. Quite a well-made film, but yeah, just some nice shots, very good music. But again, the music's very dreamy, a bit like Paper House that I spoke about, which Hans Zimmer did the score to. Yeah, similar kind of score, but a bit more like, strings and things. I think. Yeah, I guess the music maybe better sound like a siren song or something, like being as it's all. But yeah, sounds weird, but the music does sound sea inspired. It sort of comes in waves, and yeah, it's very um, dreamy. Yeah, I did enjoy it. Not the most memorable film, a few standout parts from it, but yeah, it's hardly like you're coming across a lot of scenes that you're like, wow, I've never seen anything like this before. I remember that forever. But yeah, I'd give it a 7. Decent enough. We'll keep in the collection and rewatch. I think it might get more interesting on a rewatch once you sort of there's probably some multi layers going on. As yeah, some things do get revealed in that, but I won't say too much about it. This was the first time watching. Must have seen this when I was about 17, so over 20 years, let's say. Is Road Trip. So yeah, very explicit as it says there. I don't know if it's got more rude language than say Superbad or um, Dodgeball. I don't think maybe it's got some more offensive terms, but yeah, I did see this years ago when it first came out. I can remember Tom Green from it the most, like the scene with the snake when he wants to feed the snake, then he gets it out of the cage. Um, Sean Scott Williams is he called? Basically, almost plays Stifler in this. Very similar character. Yeah, a lot of the people, I wouldn't say a typecast as such, but if you expect, I guess he was on MTV and things before this, like the Tom Green show, if you know what to expect from Tom Green with his silly, weird, vulgar behaviour. Probably not as vulgar and intense as Freddy Got Fingered. Yeah, kind of surprised this is a 15, but for all the people saying it's really sort of controversial and we would be banned nowadays or cancelled or wouldn't get made, yeah, I mean, it's coarse and vulgar, but being only a 15, I don't think it's anything that's too offensive. Yeah, genuinely funny, made me laugh in quite a few places. Quite a good story. I mean, a good story, but a bit of a silly setup. How he basically, it's not a spoiler, it does say this on the back, he films himself having sex with another woman, and then when he goes to mail the tape that he's sort of sending to his girlfriend across the country, saying, just doing a video log for her, he sends, or his friends, I don't know why he trusts his stupid friends to send the tape off, but they send the sex tape to his missus, basically, and it's a race to get across America to intercept the tape, kind of thing. And then, yeah, all kinds of comedy ensues. I do also have Euro Trip, which Ash from Popcorn and Horror is kind of the master of knowing these, along with Sammy G's World of Cinema, to be fair. Did inform me it's not a direct sequel. They've just taken the name, I guess, to kind of try and profit off the hype of this. But yeah, remembered it back in the day, did find it funny when it first came out. But yeah, on a rewatch, enjoyed it more. Yeah, made me laugh in quite a few places. A few hilarious moments. Yeah, not going to be for everyone. It's quite silly. Not in a kind of, as much as I like Jim Carrey, some of his roles people might find immature, the sort of faces and the sort of silly phrases he says. Oh, Mr. Bean, it's not like a slapstick or anything. It's, yeah, just more about the like words they're saying and the situations they get into. But yeah, on a rewatch, I'll probably do a comedy ranking. But yeah, maybe would be in my top 10 comedies, or at least American comedies. Yeah, I guess it's not the best made film. It's quite, I wouldn't say vacuous, but similar to American Pie. Think of American Pie, but rather than being set in a school, they're kind of on a road trip, basically. Similar kind of vulgar humour and sort of sexual jokes and things. Can't remember if there was any nudity. Probably would have remembered if there was, so I'm guessing not. But yeah, again, I'd probably give that a 7. Yeah, same as Bermuda Depths. Enjoyable, one I will rewatch. Probably not for a few years though. I think it's the one I couldn't sort of watch every year or so. Yeah, I'll get on to Euro Trip, and although Ash said it's sort of not linked in any way, I'll still see if it's entertaining or funny. This one I won't speak about too much, as I already have a few times, but on the last recent watches episode, I did watch the first part of Salem's Lot on 4K. First half, yeah, maybe the better one, more iconic scenes, although the second half does have more action. But obviously you can watch this as the original TV miniseries version, playing in 2 parts, which I did. Obviously the second part, when it starts, does have like the catch-up, kind of showing what happened in the first half, and then showing some like highlights of the second part before it starts. But yeah, the first part did kind of have a trailer at the start, and I wouldn't say it's spoilerish, but yeah, quite strange that, as soon as it opens, when it would have aired on, let's say, Sky One on TV in America, it might be like Hallmark, or actually probably too good a production for Hallmark, but when it aired on TV, yeah, second part, fair enough, show us a catch up and a bit of a trailer. But yeah, I did think it was weird that it shows like a trailer and gives away sort of half of what happens in the film and the creepy scenes in the opening part. I will watch, I don't know if I'll watch it played as the extended movie, because it's kind of the same thing, just doesn't have the break in the middle. Might just start it just to see if it does have the sort of giveaway trailer at the start. But yeah, I guess I will eventually watch the theatrical version, which is 53 minutes shorter. So it'd be interesting to see what they cut out. Yeah, I wouldn't, even though that dialogue on that, I wouldn't say is like throwaway, that they could just cut it out and the film would work the same. So as much as it's a 3-hour film, and I have said it's kind of slow and a slow burn, some people might find it drags. I really enjoy slow burns. Yeah, obviously you wouldn't cut away like the Danny Glick at the window scene, or the bits with Barlow, or when Straker sort of first moves into the house. But even a lot of the dialogue is not really throwaway. You know, if you took out the bit just to build up and the talking, it wouldn't have the same kind of atmosphere. So if you have seen the theatrical version, let me know how it works when they've cut out a third of the film, pretty much. But yeah, obviously watch the second half. Already spoke about it quite a lot. Spoke about the first half in a bit of detail. So second half, yeah, I'd say wraps up the story well and has more action. But yeah, not as many iconic bits. Although you do get to meet Straker as this kind of Nosferatu-inspired vampire. Yeah, it's always been called Salem's Lot, the film, but I think the actual book by Stephen King is only a short story. No, sorry, the full book is called Salem's Lot, which is a big book. But then they do have he has a spin-off story. I'm not sure if it was before or after. Must have been after Salem's Lot. I think it's one of his earlier books called Jerusalem's Lot, which revisits it and changes the story a bit. So, it'd be interesting to know if they ever try and do like a Jerusalem's Lot. Let me know, Stephen King reader. It's been a long time since I read that short book. I think it's only about 12 pages. But yeah, I think it's called Jerusalem's Lot rather than Salem's Lot. So I wondered whether Salem's Lot has always been short for Jerusalem's Lot, or at least the town it's set in is Jerusalem rather than Salem. But I guess Salem sounds better because it's like a Salem witch hunt kind of things. Yeah, I do own a lot of Stephen King books. I'm not going to lie, I've not read one of them for about 20 years. Right, did I give it a score? 9 out of 10. Close to a 9.5. It is one of my favourites, but like I say, it is a slow one. It's 3 hours, so it's not a film I can just whack on whenever. You know, there's some out there I've mentioned ad nauseum, like The Thing, Brain Dead, Hot Fuzz, that I could just kind of watch whenever. But yeah, I guess you need to be in the mood for quite a long undertaking. Next, you got a horror on Blu-ray from the director of Longlegs, Keeper. Yeah, off the bat, I will say I prefer this to Longlegs and the Monkey. So yeah, Longlegs is a well-made film. I think it's got multiple layers. If you go back and watch it, you probably get more out of it. But from the first viewing, I was a bit underwhelmed. I think it was just the hype. You know, if I'd never heard anything about it like I hadn't with this one, then I think maybe I would have enjoyed it more. But because it went, you know, people were saying best thriller since Silence of the Lambs, which is a high bar. Yeah, Silence of the Lambs I had in my top 10 films of the 90s. One of those, I would say it's a thriller rather than a horror, but people that call it a horror, one of the most critically acclaimed horrors of all time. You know, even the critics and, dare I say, average people, you know, non-horror loving film goers, I think, respect that as a film. So yeah, I think it was just a bit overhyped. Nicolas Cage really good in it. Without spoiling it, you don't see him as much as I wanted him to. The Monkey, I enjoyed it. It's a fun film, but I don't know where I'm looking. It's over there now. Yeah, I'll watch it again, see how I get on with it. The first watch, I enjoyed it. It was a bit more fun than Longlegs, which is a more serious and I'd say a better made film, but a bit of a slower kind of mystery. Whereas, yeah, The Monkey was fun. The characters, like the brothers in it, were a bit silly, but they didn't bother me as much as, you know, the characters from Heart Eyes or Clown in a Cornfield or Talk to Me, the worst offender. Yeah, just like, I can't think of a film in like recent history where they just made so unlikable characters as in that. Yeah, a bit annoying. The CGI ain't always great, but some of the kills I thought was quite inventive. I found it fun. Yeah, so I think I gave The Monkey 6.5 and I gave Longlegs 6.5. But I'll give this a score once I spoke about it. But yeah, I would mark this higher. Yeah, more impressive. Some genuinely creepy scenes. There's a reveal with a woman with something with her face. I can't really say too much about spoiling it, but that is really creepy and inventive. Yeah, I think this is his best film. Yeah, lots of genuinely like unsettling films, a lot of suspense. Not too gory, but it goes there with some of the horror. While on a weekend getaway at a remote cabin, Liz, played by Tatiana Maslany, and Malcolm's, played by Rossif Sutherland, romantic retreat takes a dark turn when a sinister presence unveils the cabin's chilling past. So yeah, it's kind of going along. You think it's just going to be an average, I say, ghost supernatural film set in a cabin, and yeah, it does go deeper than you expect. There's quite a lot of reveals and things. About sort of, yeah, I can't really say too much about spoiling the plot, but I will say Keeper kind of does come into the story. Yeah, like I say, it's quite spoilerish. Not too much I can say, but yeah, my favourite film from Osgood Perkins. I think they'll get more out of this on a second viewing. Yeah, not quite up there with like Weapons or Bring Her Back or what was it called? Heretic as some of the best sort of, or The Substance, I say, the best 4 horrors of recent years. Not far behind, yeah, probably that one called Together, um, with the couple. I think, yeah, it's probably on about the same kind of level as that. But yeah, I'd give that a 7.5. So, considering I gave the other two, I think it was a 6.5. Maybe I gave The Monkey a 7. I'd prefer that slightly to Longlegs. But yeah, again, Monkey, quite a vacuous sort of CGI fest, but I had fun with it. And it seems quite divisive. Yeah, I know a few people really didn't get on with the aesthetic, whereas I know a few people really enjoyed it. But yeah, rank that a bit higher. And if you haven't seen this, you're into horror. Yeah, it's not really too many jump scares. It's more psychological and more about the build up and the tension. That yeah, there are a few scenes here that are genuinely creepy, give you a shiver down your spine. Not in a kind of way of Bring Her Back, where it's sort of brutal and you're wincing when you're watching it. It's not so much a bit of body horror, but yeah, more about the creepy reveals and the way the story goes. That is sort of very unsettling. So yeah, 7.5 for Creeper. This one, yeah, really surprised me. Might have been my watch of the week if it wasn't obviously Salem's Lot, one I've seen before. I mean, I've seen this before. Let me show it to you, Kingpin. So I have seen this years ago when I don't know when it first came out, but I remember it aired on TV when I was probably like a teenager. Depends what year this came out. It was. I can find the year because I usually can't. 1995. So yeah, I was probably 13 or so when I watched this. I liked it at the time, didn't really understand a lot of the humour, but on this rewatch really went up in my estimation. Some really good characters, really good music in it. Yeah, that's one of the main things I'd say. Really like some of the songs. I'd say it's more songs that play rather than a score where the composer has made say stringed instruments and original music. I think there's a bit of that, but yeah, it's more the sort of songs in it. Yeah, really good role from Bill Murray. I did say I was disappointed with him in Caddyshack. He just played like a dumb idiot that didn't really speak, a bit of a Mr. Bean character. Obviously, really like him in Ghostbusters, Groundhog Day, Scrooge. But yeah, other than Ghostbusters, I think this is one of his best roles. Only he plays a really, what do you call him? Condescending kind of bowler. And yeah, when he goes to do his bowl, he sort of goes up on one leg and throws it in a certain way. It's quite iconic. And then I think it's a wig he's got on, to be fair, but he has this like really bad comb over, and once he bowls, it's all like hanging down the back and stuff. Woody Harrelson funny in it. Randy Quaid, yeah, don't play so much of a comedy character, but they need him to bounce the other two comedians off. This Vanessa Angel is very nice looking in it. Lin Shaye is in it. Yeah, there's quite a bit of. I suppose there's a 12 because there's some quite gross humour in this. To be fair, won't say what happens, but one bit when he has to do something to the lady to pay the rent, and then he's being sick in the toilet after. Yeah, Lin Shaye, obviously in this, she wasn't too old, probably like 40s or so, but they kind of gave her a load of makeup to make her look like a gross old witch. Directed by Peter Farrelly and Bobby Farrelly, who did something about Mary, and I think they did Dumb and Dumber. Is it Liar Liar? Another Jim Carrey film I watched not too long ago. Sure, Sammy G from Sammy G's World of Cinema will know. Yeah, some quite crude humour. Yeah, really made me laugh. Probably even more so than Road Trip and the other comedy I've got coming up. Yeah, well-made film, enjoyable. The bowling really good in it. I did kind of say, other than The Big Lebowski, I wrongfully said the other horror film I was thinking of was called Kingpin. It is actually called Gutterballs. A Ryan Nicholson film, I think, but very, very intense, brutal, band, kind of very mean-spirited. But yeah, this for me is the best bowling film. Let me know of any other bowling films. There's one where he plays like Boulet, is it, on the green? I think it's what's his name? Something K. He played Mike Strutter. He was in All Gone Pete Tong. I think he was in Shameless a bit. And he's like quite young, but he's like a bowls maverick playing against these old people. But in terms of actual temping bowling, throwing it down the lanes, yeah, probably the best I've seen. You do actually see some good bowling action, a good story, how Randy Quaid is like an Amish character, and he's not allowed to play bowling, but his granddad secretly taught him to bowl. And then Woody Harrelson's character is like a washed up bowler who loses his hand and can't play, and he's got this funny rubber hand. Yeah, there's quite a lot of jokes with that. Don't know if that's where they inspired the guy from Scary Movie 2, Take My Good Hand Child. But yeah, he basically wants to coach him so he can beat Bill Murray, who's, I mean, it says con man, double crossing bowling con man Bill Murray. Yeah, Bill Murray plays a real git in this, delivers some really good lines of dialogue, but yeah, his actual physical acting, I can't really do it to show you, but the way he bowls and he goes up onto one leg and just like tilts, yeah, it just looks really funny. Yeah, really impressed by this. One of my, obviously Salem's Lot I'd rank as a higher film, but I was only ranking the second part, and I've seen it quite a few times. So in terms of, you know, even though this is technically a rewatch, it was almost like other than that one gross scene, a couple of the bowling scenes, and some of the music and things in it, I couldn't remember it too much. So yeah, it was almost a first time watch, really. Let me just see who does the music. Music by Freddie Johnston. Yeah, it is kind of more the songs, but yeah, a lot of the songs I didn't know. They kind of 90s, 80s pop music, but really went well with the sort of film, fit in with the style. Yeah, it's got a sort of entertaining, high energy atmosphere. Yeah, sort of like in terms of the comedy and the characters and the way it's actually about the sport, not just using that as like a setup for the comedy. Kind of, yeah, like the bowling version of Dodgeball, really. Yeah, some of the humour is a bit naughty, a bit risque. Quite surprised it's a 12. But yeah, let me know, Sam, of the other film. Something About Mary. I think I own it, but I do need to rewatch that. Cause, yeah, when I was younger and that first came out, that was quite like a hit film. I'm just looking down there to see if I've got it. Yeah, my mum really liked that film. Used to watch it quite often. And yeah, at the time it was like bit rude, but not too far. But as much as, you know, when you're 15, there's like this thing hanging off her earlobe and stuff like that, which, yeah, you kind of starting to understand those kind of jokes. But yeah, really enjoyed that. So far, one of my best first time watches of the year, and it's a third of the way. Well, I guess you can almost call it a first time watch, but a long overdue rewatch. Let's just say one of my best watches of the year, Kingpin. I would give that an 8.5. Yeah, well made film, good music, well shot, likable characters you don't like, you're not meant to like. Good ending, very satisfying, and yeah, genuinely funny. Some genuine like laugh out loud moments. This one, first time watching, I'd say 35, 36 years. Yeah, I must have hired it at the video shop when I was like, I don't know, between 4 and 6 years old, I guess. Is Ghost Chase. So yeah, one of the rarest DVDs I own. I got this in CEX in Kingswood for £10. I think I told the story when I showed it on the haul of how I went in there. It wasn't on the shelf. I was worried it had like been stolen or not put out. Went to pay and it was up behind the till, sort of sideways on, but I recognised it. So £10 seems quite a lot from CEX for this being out of print. But when I've looked on Amazon, copies on there are selling for £200 up to £350. I don't think there's one cheaper than £180 or so. So yeah, even though CEX are rip-off merchants, you kind of think they see on eBay that's the kind of price people are asking. It's kind of surprising they are only asking £10 for it there. Yeah, really fun film. It's only a PG. Yeah, I do vaguely remember once I rewatched it, the amount of times they say shit is quite surprising for a PG. Yeah, very 80s. I kind of remembered it not having too much atmosphere or not too much colour, and as a kid, I kind of liked the puppet Lewis, but it was, yeah, I remember finding like the setup and the kind of hijinks going on didn't really grab me, but on watching it, it's very colourful, it's very 80s, good music, yeah, all like 80s costumes, good like puppet work, yeah, if you could see him there, the little ghost Lewis, good atmosphere, as it says on the back, from the director of Independence Day. I'm not being sarcastic when I say I probably prefer this to Independence Day. I don't hate Independence Day, I'd give it like 7 or so. It's a decent action movie, but never been a fan of Will Smith. Can barely name more than 1 or 2 films I actually enjoy with him in. Not him as an actor, just don't like many films he does. You know, if he'd been in The Machinist rather than Christian Bale, then I guess it'd be a very different film, but maybe I would like him. Yeah, it's not really, yeah, certain actors, him or say Angelina Jolie, where, yeah, like her in a few things, really good in like Bone Collector and The Changeling, Girl Interrupted, but general output by Will Smith and her, for example, I just think quite overrated actors that just, yeah, aren't in a lot of films. I'm not saying they're not good actors, but yeah, just not in the kind of things I like, don't know if it's better than Godzilla 97, I want to say. Another Roland Emmerich film. But yeah, very different. You could tell from this he'd have some skill. It's better than I kind of thought I was going to remember it. I thought it'd be really like schlocky, low budget, silly. But no, it's good. The acting's decent enough. There's a few quite funny bits. Yeah, some quite good hijinks, some quite good special effects. It does play on like the grandfather clock and things, and then they're sort of driving around in the car. There's like an amulet kind of thing. I think there's a scene, without sort of spoiling it, where somebody's tied down and this sort of weapon thing's gonna like crush them, and they use it to like to let the ghost out kind of thing. Yeah, I think I read the blurb last time, but basically his granddad dies and he inherits, well, his estate, but rather than getting like anything good, it's like an old grandfather clock, and then when it strikes midnight, it's his grandfather's butler, Lewis. Yeah, he had a really funny accent. He had like a British accent. Good puppet work and that. Yeah, a bit sort of Jim Henson style. Yeah, it's not the best made film, but yeah, I'd give it a 7.5. Enjoyable, memorable, and yeah, did a few bits I did remember, considering I'd watched it all those years ago when I was very young. But yeah, there's some films where you might watch them and in the back of your head you're like, did I see that? What's the name? And you could spend years trying. I mean, I found the name of it years ago, but didn't think I'd get a physical copy. Yeah, not been actively looking in CEX for this, but say 10 years or so I've been collecting in CEXs. I've never seen it come up in any of them, and obviously I wouldn't have paid £200 or something on the internet. So yeah, enjoyed Ghost Chase, 7.5. Considering it's an early film from him, from 87, yeah, quite impressive to be fair. This one, had watched it once, did find it a bit boring. The general consensus seemed to be it's quite a slow film. Main reason I rewatched this is because I remembered it was by, see if I can find his name, Pascal Laugier, who did Martyrs. So obviously Martyrs, a very intense, powerful, haunting kind of film that play on your mind. One of the most disturbing films I've ever seen. Really hard to watch violence. This is kind of the opposite, a bit more of a slow, haunted house kind of film. It's got Anna, Virginia Ledoyen from The Beach, Lou Doylon, and Katrina McCall. Yeah, she's really good in it. Catriona McCall. I think she was in Zombie Flesh Eaters, I want to say, when she was younger. So you can get two versions. You can get the actual French language version. I can't speak English. Called Saint Ange, I guess you pronounce it. Whereas this is called House of Voices. It is. I don't know whether they recorded two versions, one in English, one in French, or whether this is dubbed. Because although the accents, the dubbing links up at that, a few of the times, the dialogue did feel a bit weird being in English. Not sure about Catriona McCall, but I'm guessing Virginia Ledoyen and Lou Doylon are French. Obviously, I know Pascal Laugier is a French director. Again, one thing I would say about this, amazing music, such woozy, really set the atmosphere. Yeah, it's creepy. A bit more happens. The first time I thought she just sits around in a haunted orphanage and not much happens. But yeah, a few more things happen. I kind of forgot there was a sort of, should we just say, pregnancy kind of element, which is quite interesting. Yeah, she's basically hired to clean Saint Ange, an orphanage that's being closed down. There she finds only one child left behind, shut up in her memories little by little. As Anna explores the house, she hears footsteps, laughter, voices, a convincing and disturbing reminder of those who were there before and might yet linger to haunt the old building. Yeah, it's got a very, again, a bit of like a dreamlike style. It is quite slow, it's not moving for everybody. 2003, yeah, I do want to pick up the French version, Saint Ange, and see if it's much different. I think the actual shots are all the same, it's just the dialogue. I think it would work better in French, to be fair. Yeah, that girl's quite creepy in it. Yeah, it's quite a few creepy scenes, more psychological, slow suspense build up, really good setting with the orphanage, looks the part. But yeah, it is slow, not too much happens. But yeah, I say the music, the standout part, acting and everything all good. Although, yeah, with the sort of dialogue seeming a little bit stilted or affected in some way by it being a translation. Yeah, a few sort of bits did seem a bit sort of off, is all I would say. Yeah, music. Let me see who does the music. Joseph Lodica. But yeah, very impressive. Yeah, it's like a little piano sort of bit that keeps recurring, that just really haunting little theme that keeps on coming on. Really works very well. Lots of string music. yeah, composer's done really well on this. And the aesthetics and the shots, yeah, it's well made film. It's all well acted and well put together, but yeah, it is a bit slow. Not too much happens. So if you go from watching, this was obviously before Martyrs, but if you went backwards thinking, I wonder if this is as brutal as Martyrs, no, nowhere near. Say it's more a bit like The Changeling, or if anyone's seen the actual film called The Orphanage, which is a Spanish film, similar to that. I think that was produced by Guillermo del Toro, whereas they always try to kind of trick you into thinking it was directed by him. This one I spoke about briefly when I showed it on the haul video, Blessed, with Heather Graham and James Purefoy, I'm going to say it. Yeah, like it says, cool thriller that mixes Rosemary's Baby with The Omen. It was slow, it was quite forgettable. I was a bit tired when I was watching it, so I wasn't falling asleep, but I wasn't really taking it all in too much detail. Again, good music in this. Yeah, I've had quite a few films with good music. 15, directed by Simon Fellows. Andy Serkis, probably the sort of standout, other than Heather Graham. She is good in this, looks nice, lots of scenes where she hasn't got too much clothes on, you might enjoy. It's only a 15, contains strong language and violence, but yeah, like I said, it's kind of like a Rosemary's Baby or The Omen, but the main spin on it is they're having trouble conceiving. I can't remember whether it's her's got like a low egg count or the partner has got a low sperm count, but they basically go for IVF. And yeah, quite an interesting spin where before, like I've said, when I showed it on the haul, it's usually they get possessed, or we do a Ouija board or a ritual, or someone puts a curse on them, or, spoiler alert, in Rosemary's Baby, he actually gets copulated by Satan himself, whereas, yeah, quite an original story where, you know, it is genetic, so I guess if you are planting embryos into people and the doctors themselves could do something shady or an accident, and you could sort of create a nightmare, shall we say, to it. But yeah, not very intense really on the horror, kind of more of a drama-y thriller with some horror elements. This Black Monk, yeah, don't see him too often and doesn't really have too much scares or anything in the film. Yeah, I think I do need to rewatch this, because even though I didn't fall asleep while watching it, I just didn't really take that much of it in. But yeah, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. Quite forgettable, to tell you the truth, that one. This one, hadn't seen in years. Did enjoy it when I watched it. Oh yeah, probably like 12 or 15 years ago. Do like films set in the Mall. I call it a Mall. I don't know. We don't really have too many of them in England. It was an American thing. I think most of those have closed down. I'll show you anyway. It's Mallrats, from the director of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, aka Kevin Smith. Probably my second favourite Kevin Smith film. I think I prefer Clerks to this. And I do like Tusk, which, yeah, I know Jodie is a fan of Tusk, but it's not for everyone. It's quite a disturbing, messed up film. But yeah, really fun. See if I can read too much about. Yeah, Jason Lee, really good in this when he's younger. He was a professional skateboarder, was really good at one point, and then went on to be in My Name is Earl, which is a really good program. I was talking to my mate Al Pearson about that. Yeah, really enjoyed My Name is Earl. Quirky, kind of weird in that he's like older with a mustache, looks quite different. Does also have the guy that plays Randy from My Name is Earl, and also he's in American History X. Shannon Doherty, very attractive in it, from Heather's Girls Want to Have Fun. TS, they call him, but he's played by Jeremy London. Kevin Smith is in it as Silent Bob, although he doesn't say much. Spoiler alert, at the end he does actually do a sentence. And Jason Mewes, really good as Jay, got a lot of funny quotables and stuff. Yeah, good music again in this, really good humour. Yeah, had me laughing out loud. Ben Affleck is a real git in this. If you know what to expect from Kevin Smith, especially from this era, you know, like a lot of the cast that reoccur in a lot of his films, shall I say. Music by Era Newborn. Surprised it's quite a soundtrack. I don't think it's like Mao music, but you recognise the soundtrack, but it's not too in your face. You know, it's not like, I wouldn't say in your face, but you know, there's certain films where an iconic song will play, like at the start of Midnight Cowboy, when they've got that "Everybody's Talking at Me" song, and you just couldn't remake that film without that scene, without that music tie into it, should I say? Whereas, yeah, this yeah, the music's not too like taking over the film. It gives it space to breathe. But yeah, whether it's meant to be a bit like the kind of music you have in like Mouse, there's a lot of hijinks going on. Um, Stan Lee got a really good part in it. Yeah, enjoyed it before, but on this rewatch, again, went up in my estimation. Really funny, a bit more crude at an 18 than the other comedies. So, what's the other ones I watched? Kingpin. Yeah, it's only a 12. It's more crude than Kingpin. Probably more crude than Road Trip, which is known for being vulgar. But yeah, Road Trip not on the level of Freddy Got Fingered. I do need to get Freddy Got Fingered and rewatch that. Yeah, I'd rank this higher than Road Trip, but not as good as Kingpin. But yeah, if I gave Kingpin an 8.5, I think I'll give this an 8. 7.5 bordering on an 8. Yeah, basically, someone's come in to do something in the Mall and they don't want it to happen, so they try and get Jay and Silent Bob to thwart the plan, and then, without spoiling it, the person coming is actually somebody they don't want to thwart, so then they kind of start trying to undo their plan. But yeah, loads of funny bits, loads of atmosphere of like American Mals. Yeah, it's not too many films sort of set in American Mals. Obviously, you've got Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge, Mallrats. I think there is another one, Chopping Mall, which I haven't actually seen but heard is good. But yeah, give that an 8. Fun film, and yeah, probably my second favourite Kevin Smith film. Dogma, Kevin Smith, that might be my third favourite one. And then this, only picked it up yesterday, but watched it last night / the early hours of this morning, is We're All Going to the World's Fair. So yeah, this is, I think I wrongfully said the lady, Kit, I think she was called in HMV, said it was a sequel or a prequel to I Saw the TV Glow. I'm not sure if it's linked. I think it's just from the same director, Jane Showbrun, I want to say. Yeah, really dark and creepy. I'd say it's a bit more of a drama with some horror elements, but I'd say the drama and the story of the teenage girl and their online presence and things is probably more pertinent at the centre of the film than the horror. So yeah, people like Ash from Popcorn and Horror and Sammy G from Sammy G's World of Cinema, I think you'll get on with this. As yeah, I'm not the biggest into drama, dare I say, coming of age, but it worked outside of the horror. And once the horror elements come in, yeah, the sort of horror mixed with like the coming of age. The main girl in this, see if I can find her name. Anna Cobb, it's her film debut, but she is really good. Not only naturalistic acting, when she's meant to be scared, she pulls it off. Bits without sort of spoiling it, when she goes a bit crazy and is aggressive and screams and that, she pulls it off. Just even when she's just looking on the internet and browsing it, it all just seems like the kind of reactions and that she would really have. Michael J. Rogers is good in it. Yeah, as much as it's about she plays this online game and certain things start happening and it turns creepy, there's also a bit of a subplot with one of the guys in it, and you think he might or might not be some creepy online presence, is all I'm going to say. So yeah, got a bit of like a subplot and yeah, some genuinely creepy imagery. I'd say unsettling. A few, yeah, disturbing moments. Not really jump scares, but few, yeah, if you've seen like Host, there's a few sort of bits maybe inspired by that. Very slow burn, very atmospheric. Again, some like good music, creepy music. But yeah, it's kind of got the vibes of like Ring, well, the original Ringu. The one I couldn't remember the name of, but my friend Al informed me, is Beyond the Gates. Anybody that's seen that, yeah, they go into an old video shop, find this kind of Jumanji board game, and it all sort of comes alive. Or the Last Video Store, bit like one I really enjoy but seems to be underrated is the Banshee chapter. Yeah, there's a few of these. It's not done in, well, some of it will show her web page open and you're looking at that and who she's talking to, and other bits will show being filmed from the laptop of her looking at the PC, or laptop should I say, but then other bits will be just like a long shot in the corner of her room filming for a while. So yeah, it's not really done in found footage, but it's kind of filmed in two different ways. But yeah, the filming's all good. And yeah, there are a few images in this that are quite disturbing. There's one or two shocking bits. Yeah, see, the horror takes a back seat. Probably only sort of 3 or 4 horrifying bits, but when they happen, they are very intense. And where it sort of sets up the character and you care about them. Yeah, you could argue in a film like Hostel, don't really know or care about the characters, so when horrible things are happening to them, you're not really too invested. Whereas being as this has got the drama element, yeah, I find it sometimes takes longer to build up a sort of drama, coming of age horror. and there'll not be as much horror straight away, where obviously you're sort of setting the scene and building it up. But I think when it's done that, once you get to know the character and you care about them and get invested in them, when the horror does happen, it's more horrifying because you don't want the bad things to happen to them. Quite a lot of ambiguous stuff going on, quite a lot of like lore and things to this We're All Going to the World's Fair. It's like an online challenge. Don't know if it's based on a real thing or they've made it up for this. Like it says, disturbing scenes. Yeah, there are a few bits, like this bit what happens with this thing on her eye. Bit when you basically see an image of some face. I think it did show. No, I thought it did show it on the back. With like all distorted, with like black eyes, and that's quite creepy. Creepiest bit for me is when she was, not really a spoiler, she was filming herself sleeping. When some guy watches it back, there's one bit where she wakes up and she's like clawing the covers real slow, and then it shows the camera, her eyes are open, just intense, and she's just grinning and staring at the camera in like a malignant kind of way. Yeah, that literally gave me shivers up my spine. But yeah, if you're into your slow burn, like it says, a nightmarish dreamscape. I haven't seen Skinamarink. I've heard a lot of people say it's bad, they don't like it. But where it sort of addresses like childhood fears, you know, when you'd have a bad dream when you were a kid, or you'd be scared at night but you couldn't really understand why. And like liminal spaces. I know there's a lot of horrors that like deal with like liminal spaces. Yeah, I guess it's on that kind of style, a bit like what are they called? It's kind of creepypasta-ish, but it's like a thing, bit like a creepypasta. I can't think what the name is at the moment. SCP Foundation stories, I think, or like, yeah, it's sort of like a creepypasta kind of thing. Where yeah, there was like, was it the Blue Whale Challenge or something was going around a while ago that kids were doing and actually hurting themselves, or like the Tide Pod Challenge kind of gets into that, and then yeah, creepier than I expected it, but yeah, not gonna be for everyone. Like I say, quite a slow burn. I would give that a 7.5. Did enjoy it. We'll keep it in the collection. We'll watch it again, and we'll seek out our other films. And yeah, for £10, a pretty good value on that one. So yeah, I'd say most fun watch of the week, probably Kingpin. Worst watch of the week. You just fight with it. Probably Blessed. Wasn't awful. I still gave it a 6. Not really had any stinkers this week. A lot around a 7, so quite average ones. But yeah, main takeaway I would say is a lot of good music, or soundtrack scores, whatever you call it, in those. Yeah, soundtrack of the week. Probably House of Voices. Yeah, I really like the little sort of piano motif they create at the start, a bit like, you know, John Carpenter's Halloween or Exorcist, or I guess those are like tubular bells, but you know, that kind of, as soon as you hear the sort of keys or whatever, you recognise it, and then it kept playing it throughout the film when creepy things happened. And yeah, it did elevate it, because as much as there's sort of quite long scenes where she's just sat in an abandoned toilet, like thinking, and or a bathroom, should I say, and there's kind of some supernatural elements, the music did really bring it along. But yeah, so everything I've watched, so I'll be back probably 2 weeks or so now till I do my next recent watches, and then how many I watch in the time. I'm going to do an overview of my Arrow video collection, because I've not done it in a year. I've got a lot of titles since that, so I'm not going to talk about each one. I'll just show them, just so everyone can see how the collection's grown. And yeah, I think the last update I did is on like 3,000 views, so one of my best views almost went viral, like Angelo. Shout out to Wacky World of Napang Films. Yeah, not sort of thinking, oh, well, the last one was popular, so this is going to get 3,000 views. But yeah, because it was a popular video, and I've not updated in about a year. I've probably got hundreds of Arrow titles since that, including some of these nice big sets. And I've laid it all out in a different way where you can see it all. So yeah, I'll upload that next, or should I say record it now after this video. So thank you everybody for watching. I think I forgot to put any tags on my video yesterday, showing the whole video, but I will tag people I've mentioned. I think that's everything I've got to say. Right, thank you for watching. Goodbye.